of life we are in, we all yearn to be in one special place. We all wish to visit the blessed shrine of Imam Hussein in the holy city of Karbala. Not all of us have the blessing to visit the shrine of Imam Hussein, but there is still a way to experience the sights and sound of the blessed land of Karbala in the comfort of your own homes.
We call upon you, dear viewers, to support us in our financial costs to help bring the Holy Land of Karbala beaming into your homes. You can support us with a monthly donation of just $50 or £30. We are your gateway to Karbala. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Imam Hussein TV 3.
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah wa barakatuh, and welcome to Ahkam SOS, the show that discusses Islamic duties and practices. Now, this is a live show where we do taking your questions, so if you have any question you'd like to ask, please send it in via the WhatsApp number, should be there on the bottom, QR code right there in the corner. If you're watching on Facebook Live, or you're watching on YouTube, put your questions in the comment section and inshallah the technical team will send them to me. If you want to call in, 0203 515 0199 if you're in the UK, and if you're outside the UK, just call the WhatsApp number there below, and inshallah you'll be put straight through to the studio. My name is Mohsin Shah, and joining me is Sheikh Ali Ma'ash. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
How are you this evening, Sheikh?
Alhamdulillah, bikhair.
Fantastic. It's always a pleasure to see you. Sheikhna, before we start, we've got some questions from last week, so inshallah we'll go through them.
Inshallah.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalam.
Can we go to ziyarah of Imam Hussein before performing obligatory Hajj or Umrah?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. In terms of the Hajj, of course, initially the Holy Quran states من استطاع إليه سبيلا, if you're مستطيع, capable, which means you have the money, the cost for the Hajj, the health issue as well. The way towards the Hajj is safeguarded, you have the means, the passport, visa and everything, then it becomes wajib. Otherwise it wouldn't be wajib. So in that time, if you want to go to ziyarah, there's no issue with it. You can go to the ziyarah and come back and then prepare for the Hajj, because you have enough means for the istita'a to be able to go to Hajj, so it wouldn't prevent it.
Fair. Another question from last week. By the way, viewers, we're giving you a chance to put your questions in now. So please go ahead, send them on the WhatsApp and YouTube. Last week, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. I heard there's no barakah after you get a nikah done from a haram marriage beginning. Is this true? Sheikhna, a lot of people get married, and part of the celebration sometimes they'll do mixed gatherings or dancing, music, God forbid, alcohol and things like that. If you celebrate a marriage in such a way, and let's say a non-Islamic way, does that remove the barakah from the marriage?
You see, we've been emphasizing the issue of not committing any sins when it comes to the wedding ceremonies and celebrations and that gatherings that happens because of the wedding. Sadly, in this day and age, many of our faithful sisters and brothers, many of them, I can say, maybe over 90%, they would play music and dance in their wedding parties and venues, sadly. Not listening to the instructions of the Holy Quran and Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam and the fuqaha in overall, that this act is forbidden, it's haram. And of course, it will in somehow remove the barakah. We have some narrations about committing specific sins that malaika would not attend in that event or that house because of that sin. So imagine that if the malaika and the angels wouldn't attend, what happens then? So we don't want to lose the barakah, the blessing, the happy life, partially or wholly, because of playing or allowing for the haram to be, observed in that event, in that na'udhu haram gathering. So we try to avoid it. Number one, that we should avoid committing sin, and try to bring in the barakah and the blessing rather than drive it away.
Fair. Questions coming in from our viewers right now from WhatsApp. What is the ruling on the various forms of alcohol that causes intoxication? So I'm assuming this is alcohol that people drink and cause intoxication. What is the ruling on them?
I mean, we have the statement by the ulama in their books that كل مسكر haram, which is, I think, derived from a narration, that every intoxicant is forbidden to be consumed. So yes, of course, whatever is known to be with the subject of intoxicants or muskar would be haram to consume.
Also najis, no?
Yeah.
Alcohol like wine and so forth. Okay,
Yes.
they're najis. You can't.
Yes.
You can't actually even sell them and stuff. From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. How should we deal with abusive parents Islamically? Jazakallah khair. We had questions like this before, Sheikhna, where we have parents who, and you've emphasized, we respect our parents, we listen to our parents, we obey them. Sometimes parents, they may be unjust towards their children. They may be slightly ignorant towards their approach towards raising their children and so forth. So if I have an abusive parent, Islamically, how do I deal with this parent?
Well, after we mentioned that to be good with your parents, وَالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا, to be good with them, of course, now we have the second stage, which is the sabr and patience. One should be patience. It could be with the parents, it could be with the husband, with the wife, same mentality, same bad akhlaq. Again, emphasizing on the patience by Ahlul Bayt, some narrations, to be patient with the other side. Allah would reward the one who is patient with the bad akhlaq of the husband, of the wife, of the parents. Allah Azza wa Jalla would be just and merciful at the same time. He would reward those who wanted to keep this kinship and salatul rahim. They don't want to cut this tie, this relationship, and to cut the ties with those individuals, to treat them with good akhlaq as a response. But if somebody is in the stage of, let's say, adulthood, they're now in university, or if they see this is going to cause more trouble, of course they can slowly distance themselves. I don't want to say distance means cut your ties and salatul rahim. No, keep this connection, but have your own accommodation. For example, if you can get married soon, get married and have your own life and your property and so forth, accommodation separate from the parents, because now is the time that you have to build up your own life eventually. So this couldn't somehow reduce this kind of treatment by the parents or even husband, other sides of the family.
Ahsant. Just a quick reminder to our viewers that the phone lines are open. You can call in 02035150 You can call on the WhatsApp number. If you want to send your question via WhatsApp, QR code is right there. Just scan the QR code. You'll take it to the WhatsApp page. You can write your question there. We don't need to know your name. We don't need to know where you're asking from. Just give your question straightforward. If you're watching on social media, Facebook or YouTube, just put your questions in the comment section. Inshallah, the technical team will send them to me, and they're sending me loads right now. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Assalam.
Can we transmit our knowledge of religion without necessarily going through a school?
You see, you have to make sure that you gain this knowledge from two main sources, Kitabullah wa Itrat Ahl Bayt, as the Prophet said sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the numerous occasions and famous hadith of the Thaqalain, that he leaves two weighty things, the Book of Allah and his progeny and his family. So you have to make sure that you get this information and knowledge from the Quran and those who Ahlul Dhikr, those who have the knowledge of the dhikr of the Holy Quran, and they are Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. So make sure you get the information, the source from these two main sources.
From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Assalam.
Is it permissible for a Shia female to marry a Sunni male? Is it permissible to raise the children as Sunni while still instilling in them the love of the Ahlul Bayt?
What the fuqaha say that if the wife can preserve and observe her aqidah, and she wouldn't have to, let's say, forcibly or eventually with the influence of the non-Shia husband to become a Sunni, then of course, if she can preserve her aqidah, she can actually. But I wouldn't recommend this type of marriage at all.
Yes.
You have to get married from the same aqidah, the same faith individual in which, as a result, the children would, eventually become with different aqidah, with different madhab. So that's
the other thing which is interesting.
I think that's a loss.
The other
Because
thing
generation will be changing their aqidah eventually.
the other thing, Sheikhna, was interesting was he said, instilling the love of Ahlul Bayt in them. Can we love the Ahlul Bayt without disassociating from the enemies of the Ahlul Bayt?
The condition is love and to pursue their path, to believe in their imam and wilayah. Loving is not enough. It would be beneficial in some stage, but wouldn't be enough for the one to be able to gain the khair of the dunya and the akhirah. Because in this life, we're going to be living 78 years, and then we move towards the hereafter. How can you meet Allah Azza wa Jal and you don't have the wilayah of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam? You love them, you respect them, but you don't follow them and believe them as imams and vicegerents of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So that's the problem.
Fair. Is there, from YouTube, is there a means within religion to enhance memory and erase fatigue, laziness to be more productive? Thank you. First of all, Sheikhna, if you allow me,
Sure.
Always with fatigue and laziness, that's mainly your diet and that you're not exercising enough. Another thing is to wake up early. To wake up early and to begin your day. Maybe pray Fajr Salah and stay awake. To go exercise, walk around, maybe start your day then and sleep early, to get a good night rest. This will help improve your energy and so forth. Sheikhna, with fatigue and energy and memory as well, any advice, any Islamic exercises they can do to, maybe there's a dhikr or something that they can do to improve their health and also their memory?
We have mentioned before that there's a specific acts one can do so with this regard. But what is mentioned, possibly in some narrations, that to eat 21, I think, raisins.
8 raisins.
Black or red, I can't remember exactly, the type of it, but to eat every day in the morning, 21 raisins.
We were always told almonds are very good for the brain.
Yeah.
Egg is very good for the brain also. And Surah Qadr, reciting Surah Qadr.
Yeah, we have ad'iyah as well after Salah.
Hifadh can help a lot.
Yes, for
with
hifadh
memory.
specifically, there's a dua or ta'qib after each Salah, which begins with the Subhana man la ya'tidi ala ahli mamlakatih. To read this dua after each Salah also strengthens the memory and be able to memorize more.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna from YouTube. Would it be permissible to write Imam's or Prophet's name on cake of celebration of their birth as it will be cut and ate after? That's a very good question, actually. Sheikhna, we have Mawlids, we celebrate, we bring cake. Can we put the name of the Prophets, the name of the Imam on it? It's going to be cut, we're going to eat it as well.
I mean, what ulama say that it shouldn't breach the sanctity of the names of the Imam alayhi salam. So we have to see if this is some kind of breach to their sanctity when he cut the name of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, for example, into pieces. Again, it depends. We have to see this.
Fair enough. From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum. Is the blood that flows during tatbir considered najis? Thank you.
The blood of every gushing animal and human, of course, is najis. Even if you slaughter sheep with the dhikr of Bismillah towards the Qibla to make the meat halal,
The blood is still
the blood is najis, the one which was gushing out in the beginning of slaughtering. And the same applies to the tatbir or zanjil or anything that is to do with bloodletting as a result. It's najis, yeah.
Okay. From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum. Is it allowed to wear leather socks while performing wudu due to very cold weather conditions? Okay, I'm assuming this person is asking, when I perform wudu, can I have my leather socks on, or even any socks when performing wudu, Sheikhna?
In overall, one cannot perform the wudu and to wipe on the shoes or socks without a valid reason or cause. Some ulama would argue about somebody who is elderly in his 70s, 80s, and they have similar issues. Can they actually wipe? So there is a discussion with this regard that there could be an exception with this regard, because it's too cold. They might get a frostbite on the toes, for example, and so forth. But in overall, it's not allowed. So it's cold, yes, difficult, but you have to live with it.
Yeah, maybe warm some water up and do wudu with that. From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. I was wondering why prior generations had their imams physically present, but in our time, the imam is not physically present. Can this be seen as unjust? Okay, Sheikhna, imam in occultation. Some had access to the imam. Unfortunately, we live in a time where we don't have access. Occultation isn't foreign to Islam. Hazrat Musa alayhi salam had occultation. Hazrat Yusuf had occultation. Hazrat Khidr is still in occultation. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was in some sort of occultation for 40 years of his life before he did the mab'ath and he announced his prophethood and so forth. So occultation isn't a new thing to us in our religion. But is this a dhulm on us that we cannot access our imam?
You see, we have narration which says that how do you benefit from the imam who is in occultation and cannot be seen or reached? The imam responds that as you benefit from the sun when it's behind the clouds, even if there are clouds, even thick black clouds, we still receive the warmth. We still receive the energy from. Although the cloud would prevent somehow, we still have some kind of daylight. So we still benefit from the imam in his occultation while he is away from us, physically, and not in a way that we can see and touch him and kiss him and respect and get the knowledge directly from him as they do with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So and this is because of the tyrants. Allah allowed for 13 infallibles to be brought to this earth and to represent Allah Azza wa Jal, from the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam till Imam al-Askari alayhi salam, and they all were killed.
Yes.
أَفَإِن مَاتَ أَوْ قُتِلَ. Rather, he was killed.
Yes.
Even Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, shaheed. So humanity did not respect Allah's messengers and prophets, and some prophets, were killed by sowing them in the tree. So they massacred, killed prophets and their vicegerents eventually. So Allah wanted to protect this last final vicegerent of Allah Azza wa Jal.
They probably would have killed him as well.
Exactly, 14th century ago, not now, 12th century ago. So to basically to fill the world with justice and fairness, and to show Allah's, power and strength, and that Allah's nur will be overwhelming everything else, all the darkness.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Assalam.
Love from Bangladesh. All my Bangladeshi brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum. What is the best ibadat or holy deed to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam?
We have a sermon before the month of Ramadan by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he gave the sermon just before the holy month of Ramadan. And then he was asked by Imam Ali alayhi salam, who was amongst the audience or those who were in the mosque gathering. So he said to the Prophet, what is the best deed in this holy month? The Prophet said sallallahu alaihi wasallam, al-wara' an maharimillah. The best deed is to avoid committing sins. That is the best deed. Because you have taqwa, which means to implement the wajib act and to prevent the haram act. But there's a higher level that you even be very careful with not only the haram, sometimes shubuhat. They tell you this is, we're not sure if this is haram or halal.
You stay away from it.
You know, let me consume it, so that's fine. Inshallah, it's halal. This is shubha. Shubha means ishtibah, means something mixed with the wrong and the right. So even in shubuhat, you have to avoid it. So wara' is important so that one can raise their level of perfection as a result. If we can be very careful and to have the hisab every day of what we do, I think we can reach high stages in the future, inshallah.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. How can we spread the knowledge that we seek? Today's day and age, Sheikhna, there's so many ways that we can spread knowledge. People have classes, madrasa, Sunday school. People go on social media, load up videos. They do a little talk or something and they load it up. TikTok, Instagram. So many ways now that we can communicate and send a message across. Sheikh, what do you recommend?
You know, some people have this capability that they can talk, you know, they can speak, they can recite. But some people are a bit busier, or they don't have that talent to be able to come and spread the knowledge or somehow recite and so forth.
They can write.
No, even they can't write, for example. Let's say somebody who is in a building construction, for example.
Yeah.
That's his job, to build and so forth. So what they can do is to hold majalis of Ahl-Bayt in their house or in the mosque or the majlis or Husseiniya.
Sponsor a majlis.
That's it. That's one of the ways that you can actually spread the knowledge of Ahl-Bayt alayhim salam and the Islam as a whole.
From YouTube, is the eyeliner to prevent from the water coming to the skin? Okay, does eyeliner prevent water from coming to the skin? The reality is you're going to have to look at the product itself and see if it's waterproof or not. I'm assuming it does prevent water. Does kuhl prevent water from going to the skin?
Kuhl, I checked one of the ulama, Sayyid Shubbar, he was talking about if the kuhl is actually preventing the... And it seems to be that he's saying that it wouldn't prevent. Okay. So if you put the kuhl on your hand and you put a drop of water, it would reach the skin eventually.
It'll still go through.
Yeah, so it depends the type of kuhl, for example. As you said, if it's like waterproof or in somehow...
Yeah, you need to read
there's a mass or thickness, and of course you have to remove the kuhl or the mascara and then do the ghusl or wudu.
Assalamu alaikum. How can one increase love for ibadah, i.e. namaz? Okay, so how can one start to fall in love with salah? How can one fall in love with siyam? How can one fall in love with hajj? Fall in love with the acts of worship?
Sometimes too much materialistic, let's say, gains or indulging into too much acts of play or food, drink. You know, some people like to go out, restaurants, I don't know, play, games, funfair. All these things would distract the one from, you know, attaching themselves to the ibadah and recitation and even attending the majalis. I know many people who are away from the majalis and only attend in Muharram, especially the last 2 nights, and maybe Shabai Qadr, you know, nights of Qadr. Otherwise, they won't attend because they're too busy with the material world. So you have to distance yourself a bit from the dunya, even the halal dunya. Sometimes, you know, you say I'm going to the fun fair, holidays, I'm enjoying myself with luxury products, for example. It's all with my halal khums money, paid, everything. Sometimes even the halal material would also distract one from the ibadah. So one should balance between the dunya and the akhirah matters.
Fair enough. From YouTube, is it allowed to do qurbani in our country? I think maybe they're talking about dhabiha rather than qurbani. Qurbani you could do anywhere. I mean, you can sponsor someone to do qurbani for you, but in your country, are you allowed to do dhabiha?
Which country, sorry?
In the country you're living in.
I mean, if the law allows, because you can't bring a sheep in your back garden and slaughter it. I'm
not sure, but some countries will not allow that.
Because you have to go to specific places, you know, slaughterhouses, licensed, you know, by the, you know, whatever agency. So you have to follow the law with this regard.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Is it permissible to memorize the Quran without learning the rules of tajweed? Thank you.
It's good to have all in one package. So otherwise, if you want to memorize it by reading them mistakenly, then that's not going to be nice. And some kind of disrespect to the Quran. When you put fatha or dhamma wrongly.
Yeah, but Sheikhna, what about those who try? We know some people, it is very difficult for them to pronounce certain Arabic letters and sounds. So as long as they're trying, is this good enough?
Yeah, do your best, of course. Definitely.
Question from last week. Assalamu alaikum. I've been waiting to pray Salatul Layl for a while now, and I wanted to know if there is a quicker way to do it. Only reason I say that is that I want to make it a habit to wake up before Fajr, and then when I'm ready, pray the full 11 rak'ah.
Well, initially you can pray Salat al-Layl or Namaz al-Shab straight after Salat al-Isha. So when you finish Salat al-Isha, you can start praying till just before the Fajr Adhan, which is the best time. That half an hour before the Fajr Adhan is the best time, of course. And then if you want to pray, with less dhikr, let's say, initially you can just recite Surah Al-Hamd in the first 8 rak'ah.
Yeah.
And you don't have to recite Surah, let's say, the short surah after Hamd. Because it's a mustahab salah. You can ignore the qunut, for example. Just do the main required dhikrs in that salah. This is how you can basically fasten your salah and quicken your salah.
Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Salam.
If a husband left his wife, gave divorce on the phone, now remarried, does the wife still need a divorce by law or paper from him, or is that enough? Thank you.
You have two types of divorces. Number one is the divorce by the law, the paperwork that's issued by
the government,
in somehow, and you have the Shari'i divorce. The Shari'i divorce is the official Shari'i divorce that you have to go to make sure that you go to this process. Now, before or after the legal divorce, at the end of the day, if you want to separate from this woman or man, you have to make sure that you go through this Shari'i by having 2 witnesses, let's say a Maulana or somebody who can divorce you, be present with those 2 individuals with the conditions of divorce. And if that is met, then of course, now you're divorced, Shar'an. And she has to go through 3 months. And I think 10 days, or 3 months, 10 days of what's called as, I forgot the name. Iddah, exactly.
Iddah period, yeah.
Period, yeah. So then, of course, they can permanently separate after this iddah. Otherwise, just to stick with the governmental divorce paperwork would not be enough. They still husband and wife.
Under Sharia and under the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Exactly, they still husband and wife.
They need a proper
religious, let's say, religious divorce method.
Thank you, Sheikh. Now we're going to go to a short break. Join us after the break as we continue our discussion here on Ahkam SOS. Now is the best time to send in your questions. If you have a question you'd like to send in, please scan the QR code in the corner, send it on the WhatsApp. If you're watching on Facebook Live or on YouTube, put your questions in the comment section, and inshallah after the break we'll be able to discuss them for you. Assalamu alaikum.
I have a question regarding keeping pictures of
Is it
scholars at
permissible to
home.
plant trees by or
Was
over
Islam
the graves?
established based on peace
Is
and
it
non-violence?
permissible to collect donations for charity projects from
Is it permitted
individuals?
to consume canned food imported from non-Muslim
Is there an
countries?
issue for men looking at non-Muslim women?
To have your questions answered live, WhatsApp us on +44 7415 092155.
More than 3,000 members of the Shia Hazara community have been killed since September 2011, according to reports.
Hundreds of Iraqi pilgrims arrive at the house of Grand Ayatollah Shirazi.
On Saturday, the Saudi authorities executed 21 people on other charges.
Taliban abusing humanitarian aid in Afghanistan.
Shia Rights Watch expresses its condemnation on the targeted bombings in the Iraqi capital Baghdad.
There is so much happening that now is the right moment to bring together the biggest stories in one place at one time. It's ambitious, it's a first for the Shia around the world. Join me, Ayyub Nueno, for Shia Waves, live only on Imam Hussein TV free.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome back to Ahkam SOS, the show that discusses Islamic duties and practices. Now, if you have a question you'd like to ask, and it could be about any topic whatsoever, here on the show we've been talking about aqaid, history, Quranic tafsir. We've talked about memorizing Quran with tajweed or not. We've talked about business, traveling. Is Hajj wajib on you or not? Should I go to Hajj or should I go to the ziyarah of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein or Amir al-Mu'mineen? Any question you like, send it in via the WhatsApp. QR code is over here somewhere. There. QR code is right there. If you're watching on Facebook Live or on YouTube, put it in the comment section. If you want to call, 0203 515 0199, or just call the WhatsApp number there on the bottom and we shall answer your question, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Assalamu alaikum.
Let us start with this one from YouTube. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. If I have qadha fast to be paid and Ramadan has come and I didn't manage to pay them, do I have to pay kafara?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I mean, what kind of, let's say, the reason or the cause that made him or her not to fast in the previous month of Ramadan?
Traveling.
Pregnancy, traveling.
Not well.
It depends. So.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. I grew up in a Shia household, so I have a question about saying Ya Ali Madad when we are in trouble of sort. Sunnis say it is shirk. We should be calling out to Allah only. What is your answer? To be fair, Sheikhna, there are Sunnis that say Ya Ali. I am from Pakistan and I can show you many, many Sunnis that say Ya Ali Madad, including the Pakistani military. It is one of the official slogans to say Ya Ali when they go to battle and so forth. It is not just the Shia that call out for Amir al-Mu'mineen. It is many, many people who honor the legacy of Amir al-Mu'mineen and his valiancy in battle, and they call out Ya Ali. Sheikhna, can we say Ya Ali when we are in trouble and we need help?
You see, initially, when you see the prophetic narrations, and you see how many times the Holy Prophet talks to Imam alayhi salam and says Ya Ali, in terms of marriage, in terms of describing the Shia of Ahlul Bayt, other matters, other narrations mentioned with this regard, that the Prophet said Ya Ali. Now, of course, you could say that, argue that, well, he was alive, now he's dead. The Quran says that the martyrs are alive عند ربهم. They are أحياء عند ربهم يرزقون.
And still receiving sustenance.
And they're alive, and they're being alive beside Allah is more than as we are alive today in this world, limited to this materialistic. It's a greater living.
Yeah.
Exactly. أحياء عند ربهم يرزقون. So if I say Ya Ali, if he was present now alive, or he passed away, the same thing. Especially if he is Hujjatullah, he is the Imam al-Muslimin, he is the Khalifa of the Muslims. He represents Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He is Nafsu Rasulullah wa anfusana wa anfusakum, as the Quran says in Mubahala. So there's no difference. Yes, unless you consider Ali to be, na'udhu billah, as a partner to Allah Azza wa Jal, or even the Prophet. That, of course, would be shirk. That Allah Azza wa Jal, beside him Ali alayhi salam, or beside him Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or any Prophet, Isa, Musa alayhi salam, and you say Ya Muhammad, Ya Ali, Ya Isa, Ya Musa, because they are partners of Allah, that would be shirk, of course. But nobody has such intention, especially a Muslim who believes in Allah's Tawheed, that nothing is like Allah Azza wa Jal, no partners and so forth, to call Ya Muhammad or Ya Ali, without the intention of being partners of Allah Azza wa Jal.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. I come from France, where Shiites are very much in minority in my city, and I am aware of, I'm not aware of anyone, meaning I don't have much networking with Shias in my city and so forth. If I stay in my own circle without addressing the cause of Allah, bring me my husband. Okay, so I guess there's a sister here. She lives in the city. There's not much Shia there, and she doesn't interact with the Shias. If she was to call for dua and seek from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, will she be able to be introduced to someone and get married?
You see, if you read the history of the brothers and sisters who came from South Africa during the 60s and 70s to Europe, how they gradually built their connections, their community as a result, by, let's say, introducing themselves to the Shia around the city. I'm sure there should be one or two Shia around, somewhere close, even with a couple of miles of travel. She might be able to find some Shia, especially with today's
also
platforms.
If this sister is from an ethnic background, if she's from the Middle East, or she's from Asia, she's Pakistani, Indian, or she's Arab, or so forth, I'm sure she can network somehow, even if she has to go back home.
Exactly.
If it's a revert, then it can be difficult for reverts to find, Shia spouses and so forth. If she is a French lady that lives in France, there's no Husseiniyya there. There's nothing, It can be very difficult, no?
I know, but I think there should be. You have to make sure you get the right people. You connect with the right people. Networking, exactly, through the media platforms, social media, and so forth. I'm sure you'll get a couple of ones, sisters, let's say,
Inshallah,
around who are Shia, even they're from different backgrounds, Iraqi or Pakistani, or from South Africa. You'll find some people out there. They came for study or for whatever reason, work contracts. You can connect with them, and eventually, inshallah, you'll find the right person.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum. What is the exact date of Laylatul Qadr? Is it the 21st, 23rd, 25th, 27th? It is the 19th, 21st, and 23rd. Sheikhna, why 3 dates for Laylatul Qadr?
There is a detailed narration of this regard that they asked the Imam alayhi salam, and he says the first night is taqdeer, and the second night, and so forth, and the third night is actually when
the real
would be the qada, and would be let's say signed. The contract will be signed.
Yes.
The amr, Allah's amr will be signed. So 3 stages with this regard.
Fair. From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. I have 2 questions. Second one is about mut'a marriage. How many times can you repeat a temporary marriage if you are still unsure about being with the person permanently? You can do a temporary marriage as much as you want. However, if you're scared of committing, maybe that person's not the right person for you. Sheikhna?
Try to be wise with this regard, and make sure that you get the right person, and to be with them, and to see if you can live with them permanently.
Sheikhna, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, doesn't he say, why would you want to go for mut'a marriage when you have permanent marriage? And he encourages to go for the permanent marriage rather than the mut'a, no?
Even the ulama, if you go to them, the maraj', they would encourage you towards the permanent marriage, because temporary is something due to circumstances. Let's say you're studying, you're abroad, for example. Even the Sahaba, they went outside the Medina, was a battle or a trip with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they actually performed this short-term mut'a marriage in their way, with the permission from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is mentioned by the Shia and the non-Shia as well. They agree upon the issue that some of the Sahaba performed this type of marriage. And it mentions what was their, I think it was a bunch of dates. That was their mahar, dowry as a result. It mentions it as well in that narration. So one should be sensible and try to plan for their life correctly, so they don't fall into the acts of just to please their lust and so forth.
More questions coming in. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. How do I know if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Ahlul Bayt are pleased with me? Good question.
The narration says that, for example, one asks the Imam alayhi salam that, what is my position towards you, O the Imam? The Imam says, look at yourself, how much we are valued in your heart, then the same thing. So you have to look at your heart, yourself, how much you love Ahlul Bayt, how much you love Allah Azza wa Jal, His Prophet, how much you have attachment towards the Quran and the Sunnah and the Hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then you can find how much you have attachment to them.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Assalam.
More on qadha fast. Assalamu alaikum. If I have qadha fast due to breastfeeding and I paid the fidya for it in Ramadan, so I paid the fidya, Ramadan has arrived and I could not manage to pay the fast, do I have to pay kafara?
I think we asked in the last
Yeah,
night.
this one came before.
Yeah. The breastfeeding woman who is actually in her 2nd year of the month Ramadan, the first year she was pregnant, second year she is breastfeeding, of course, she had to pay 2 fidya for the previous Ramadan because she couldn't make it up in that year as a result.
Interesting question. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. If I'm on my period and read a surah where I must do sujood, like Surah Al-Najm, for example, do I perform the sujood?
No, you're not allowed to recite this verse with this regard, in this situation.
Fair.
Janaba or Month.
Fine. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Assalam.
My friend told me that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam married his two daughters to Uthman bin Affan. Is this true? Ruqayya and Kulthum.
Yes, we have a ziyarah or salah, like a dua.
Yeah.
In the month of Ramadan, you'll find this salawat, as they say.
Yeah.
Allahumma salli ala Fatima bint nabiyyika wal'an man adha nabiyyika fiha. And then it comes to Ruqayya. And he says, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Ruqayya bint nabiyyika wal'an man adha nabiyyika fiha. That may Allah curse the one who oppressed Ruqayya as a result of beating her, beating her till death. She passed away, yes.
Wow.
And the other daughter as well.
Wow. From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. How do we do tabligh to non-Muslims about Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam?
As Imam Hussein mentioned, that يتعلم علومنا ويعلمها الناس, that you learn the knowledge of Ahlul Bayt and then you spread it as a result. As simple as that.
Fair. More questions coming in. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. How does one perform Salat al-Ayat after the expiry of the event of the solar or lunar eclipse?
What the fuqaha mentions that if it's a full, let's say, full eclipse, and you couldn't do it, perform it, there's qada for it. So you just perform the qada after the end of the eclipse duration.
Fair. Just a quick reminder to all the viewers that this is a live show. We've got about 10 minutes left. So if you have any questions, send them in now. The QR code is right over there in the corner. If you're watching on Facebook Live or YouTube, send in more of your questions. And I've got more coming in here. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. If one sells 3 kg of Persian wheat in exchange for 4 kg of Indian wheat, is this transaction allowed?
No, it's not allowed because this is now riba. Usually, in somehow, you cannot sell two weighty things with a difference in the weight. So I'm selling you, for example, 1 kilogram of let's say, Ukrainian wheat, for example.
Yeah.
Now, they have problems with Ukrainian wheat to spread it, which is, let's say, class number 1.
Yes.
And then with, let's say, for another country, which is lower class, half kilogram. That half kilogram difference is actually riba and usury, so you should avoid it.
What is the ruling of wearing the veil or complete face cover for women who live in the West today?
Ulama say this is, of course, it's better for the woman to be covered in this way. But some would say that it depends on the place that you live. So if you live in the West and the majority want to wear it, then you don't have to wear it. And it's not wajib. Now the ulama say that the woman can show her 2 hands and her face. That is allowed. إلا ما ظهر. So they can actually walk without the burqa or the pushia, whatever covers the face of the woman. It's not wajib, but some would say it's better, to follow the hijab of Bibi Zainab alayhi salam and Fatima Zahra alayhi salam.
If the building that is assigned as waqf is in ruins, does it lose its waqf status?
No, it remains. They have to rebuild it again for basically be able to, if it's a mosque, then they have to use the mosque. That land remains forever as waqf. They can't touch it. Even if it was destroyed by the enemies, for example, and somehow, this land cannot be sold to the inheritors, the heirs, because just it was ruined.
From WhatsApp, it is normal these days for women to put on mascara and makeup, even a little for beauty, and then go out in front of people in the market and streets. What is the ruling on such?
Well, to wear beautification or to wear makeup, it's not permissible in Islam. The Quran is very clear. وَلَا يُبْدِينَ زِينَتَهُنْ. Do not reveal your beautification to the non-mahram. This is something forbidden in Islam. Islam wants to protect the woman and to protect other men as well from the immoral relationships as we see today in the Western world, and how much difficulties and how much problems caused this immoral relationships as a result. The depriving from having a good family and a safe environment for the children as a result, because now the woman goes with somebody else and outside the wedlock. That's the problem.
I see. Sheikh, we've got some time left, very few, and we've got loads of questions, so inshallah we can quickly answer these. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Will we see our miscarried babies as infants in Jannah, or will they be presented to us as adults?
The hadith says that they're going to sit on the floor, just on the doorstep of the Jannah, awaiting the parents to come. And they won't go to Jannah except with the parents.
MashaAllah. Yeah. MashaAllah. From WhatsApp, I have a girlfriend whom I like to marry in the future. Can I express my love to her by chat? Very dangerous.
Without the nikah contract, be it a short or long term, it's problematic, because that would lead towards romantic exchange of words, which is of course not forbidden except through a valid contract.
Go to her father and ask for her hand. Don't worry, it's not as scary as you think. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. How do I maximize my ziyarah to Iraq?
I mean, try to go to the ziyarat events. Let's say in the month of Sha'ban, Rajab, you have the Arba'in, you have the Muharram. We have all narrations with this regard for each ziyarah, the thawab and the rewards for the ziyarah of each occasion.
Assalamu alaikum. How do I pray Jummah prayer if I don't understand the language the sermon is held in? Am I allowed to pray with that group? According to say Sistani.
I'm not sure about this.
Okay, we'll find out. We'll get back to you about that one. And final question for this evening. I am Muslim. Temporary hubby is Christian, but he doesn't believe Jesus is God's son. He also respects prophets. No kid in the future, so can I marry him permanently? I don't think so.
It depends, to be honest, from each alim with this regard.
This is the female saying...
Oh, the female?
Yeah, it's a sister saying that he's Christian, but he doesn't believe Jesus is God. So he doesn't believe that Jesus is God's son, and he respects the other prophets. Can I marry him permanently?
Unless he recites the Shahadatain and he becomes Muslim, then she can marry him. That's the only solution.
Fair. Thank you very much. And that's all we have time for. I do apologize if we didn't answer your question. Inshallah, we'll roll them over to next episode, which will be on Monday, inshallah. Thank you for all those for joining us. Inshallah, we'll be back on Monday, 7 p.m. here on Imam Hussein TV. If you have a question you'd like to ask, please send it in via the WhatsApp. QR code is right there in the corner. Whenever you're watching this, on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, scan the QR code, put your question in, and we will answer that, inshallah, on Monday's episode. Thank you very much, Sheikh. Thank you to all those, the back team staff as well, and see you soon. Have a great week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
As lovers of the Ahlul Bayt, we all have an inclination to the epitome of love. When we rejoice, when times are hard, whatever stage of life we are in, we all yearn to be in one special place. We all wish to visit the blessed shrine of Imam Hussein in the holy city of Karbala. Not all of us have the blessing to visit the shrine of Imam Hussein, but there is still a way to experience the sights and sound of the blessed land of Karbala in the comfort of your own homes.
We call upon you, dear viewers, to support us in our financial costs to help bring the Holy Land of Karbala beaming into your homes. You can support us with a monthly donation of just $50 or £30. We are your gateway to Karbala. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Imam Hussein TV 3.
More than 3,000 members of the Shia Hazara community have been killed since September 2011, according to reports.
Hundreds of Iraqi pilgrims arrive at the house of Grand Ayatollah Shirazi.
On Saturday, the Saudi authorities executed 21 people on other charges.
Taliban abusing humanitarian aid in Afghanistan.
Shia Rights Watch expresses its condemnation on the targeted bombings in the Iraqi capital Baghdad.
There is so much happening that now is the right moment to bring together the biggest stories in one place at one time. It's ambitious, it's a first for the Shia around the world. Join me, Ayoub Nueno, for Shia Waves, live only on Imam Hussein TV 3.
Jiddu, I need to tell you a secret. I had an exam today and I cheated on the exam, and to be honest, I feel like it's eating me up inside as if it's haram.
Your father used to do the exact something and would always get in trouble. But you have done it now and cannot go back. I don't know if it is haram. Khair inshallah.
Thanks, Jiddu. Jiddu, I wanted to ask if it's halal to buy lottery tickets. They're so cheap and we could make a lot of money.
I don't know if it is halal or haram, but never think about something like that again.
Okay, I was just asking. Jiddu.
تعبتني, what do you want now?
I just wanted to ask if the sweet has beef gelatin, is it halal or haram?
You're supposed to check it before buying it, not after. I don't know if this is halal or haram.
Okay.
What now? I am trying to relax. Why do you keep asking me? تعالي هنا الخاطر الله. Just go watch Ahkam SOS. Any question you have, they can answer you. You can call them, message them, anything. Ask as much as you like. They can answer any question from any marja, okay?
أنا أدي خفقان، أدي شريانين مسدودات بقلبي، وآخذ علاج، وأدي سكر، أدي ضغط. علاجي أخوتي شايلين إنسولين، يعني هذه المستوصفات الشعبية مسوية كارت آخذ إنسولين بي. أنا حتى الثلاجة ما عندي، هاي محروقة نور الكهرباء. عندي كهرباء ما أخذت بالجواري، ما عندي كهرباء، ويوميا يهدد بي راح يقطعها لي. صيف نص والسيد يدري، سيد تحسين حتى هو اجى للمنطقة توسل بيهم يعطوني كهرباء. قضيت الصيف كله يمهلي لأن حارة ما أقدر، لا ثلاجة عندي، يعني تعبت والله تعبت، يعني حيل تعبت وعيشتي كلش تعبت. بنتي تريد العباية، تريد الملابس، تريد كل شيء، تريد الزين.
أتمنى إنه أعيش على حال البنات، يعني ألبس مثلهن، أطلع مثلهن، آكل مثلهن. بسبب الأوضاع يعني إنه أنا أشوف نفسنا إنه إحنا يا دوب ندبر أكل، يعني ما أقدر أحكي، ما أقدر أضغط على أمي أكثر من هذا الضغط اللي هسه هي بي.
Where we live in the West, alhamdulillah, we have a very, very better standing of living. For those of you who are watching, whatever you can give, you know, whether it's £50, £20, £10, £5, whatever you can give, please give to help people like this so that they can improve their life standard. They can become more healthy and they can be more motivated to go and, you know, achieve greater things.
Together, we can build a world whereby every child has access to education, healthcare, and the basic necessities of life.